they're done. And it's no wonder everyone avoided them like the plague.
TMZ just dropped a bomb on Blake Lively.
Could Hollywood's golden couple be hiding a darker agenda? Behind the flawless red carpets and glittering premieres, whispers suggest they may be pulling strings in a quiet bid for power. What looked like glamour and charm now hints at strategy and control. As the spotlight shines brighter, an unexpected storm brews, one that could shake their polished image and expose secrets no one saw coming.
Still waiting on the amended lawsuit from Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. They're supposed to be adding names or evidence, who knows, but today is the due date.
On the set of one of the year's most anticipated films, the real drama wasn't in the explosive stunts or dazzling effects, it was behind the scenes. Whispers of a hidden power struggle began circulating, hinting at a covert battle for creative control between two of Hollywood's brightest names. While the cameras captured polished performances, the script itself seemed to shift at unusual speed, reflecting tensions few dared to discuss openly. Behind closed doors, egos clashed and alliances formed, threatening to unravel the carefully crafted image of perfection and exposing the fragile balance beneath the industry's glossy surface.
All the messages between them all, and which he's been putting out, obviously, and it just seems like a pair of absolute weapons-grade narcissists.
The film, initially hailed for its dazzling cameo roster and promise of sharp, unpredictable humor, was expected to be a carefree showcase of top-tier talent. But as filming moved forward, insiders noticed a shift. The lively, collaborative spirit that once defined the project gave way to something heavier. Playful improvisation was quietly replaced with hurried rewrites, and behind the laughter lingered tension. Each new scene adjustment seemed less about sharpening the comedy and more about masking deeper disputes. What was meant to be a joyous, star-driven romp gradually took on the weight of an unresolved backstage conflict.
My favourite story, I think, in showbiz this year, the Justin Baldoni war with Blake Lively, which seems to me initially...
Rumors began to spread like wildfire. Quiet exchanges on set, abruptly deleted texts, and cryptic voicemails hinted at something far more calculated than simple creative differences, power plays, subtle sabotage, and a battle for control. At the center of it all was Hollywood's golden pair. He, the sharp-witted actor whose charm seemed to light up every role, and she, the partner whose effortless chemistry with him had cemented their status as the industry's dream couple. To the outside world, they embodied perfection, balancing blockbuster careers, family life, and an image most only dreamed of. But beneath the glamorous veneer, the cracks were widening. A storm was brewing, and it threatened to reveal a side of them the public had never imagined.
Blake Lively did not even read the book that the movie was based on.
Correct.
And we're not talking Warren.
It all began on set, where the initial excitement surrounding a star-studded lineup of cameos quickly soured. The project was pitched as a playful showcase of quick appearances, a treasure chest of winks to longtime fans and inside jokes for Hollywood insiders. At first, the energy was electric. Every cameo teased promised laughs, surprise, and cultural impact. But as the cameras rolled, the balance of creative contributions began to tilt in unsettling ways. What was once a lighthearted highlight, a comedic cameo from a beloved actor, suddenly shifted. The scene that had generated early buzz was reworked at the last minute, leaving the crew baffled. Carefully scripted comedic beats were replaced with abrupt rewrites, and what once felt seamless now unraveled into disorder. Entire sequences were altered in hurried, late-night decisions, as though someone was scrambling to wrestle control of the film's creative direction. Whispers spread that these weren't just spontaneous changes. Crew members later recalled heated exchanges behind closed doors, raised voices, slammed doors, and egos colliding over the smallest of details. It was like a chess match in real time, one insider revealed. The once playful set atmosphere gave way to unease, every rewritten line sparking suspicion that bigger motives were at play. The tipping point came when a respected actor, typically the epitome of calm professionalism, was seen walking away from a scene mid-shoot. Frustrated and visibly shaken, he reportedly muttered about sabotage under his breath. For many on set, this was confirmation of what they already feared, that certain roles were being deliberately minimized. A cameo once designed to be a standout moment was stripped of its shine, leaving the actor sidelined, betrayed, and disillusioned. The spirit of collaboration had fractured. What had started as a celebratory ensemble was devolving into a ruthless contest, with every creative decision weighed not for artistic merit but for how much it elevated or diminished one star compared to another. Crew members described it as a game of one-upmanship, a tug-of-war where the story itself seemed secondary, and then came the leaks. Text messages and voicemails, allegedly exchanged between the film's central figures, began to surface. Far from the polished camaraderie displayed on red carpets, the private communications told a different tale, a calculated back and forth filled with veiled barbs and strategic maneuvers. Each word was carefully chosen, not to build the story, but to assert dominance. One voicemail in particular sent shockwaves through the industry. Delivered in a tone that was both measured and biting, it hinted at deliberate choices made to undercut another's influence. Insiders who heard it described it as chilling, more like the voice of a strategist than a co-star. In these leaked messages, the project was less a creative endeavor and more a battlefield, with dialogue treated like weapons and rewrites serving as tactical strikes. By the time production reached its midpoint, the whispers had grown into a roar. What should have been a joyous, unpredictable comedy was now overshadowed by tension and mistrust. The promise of clever cameos and collaborative fun had been replaced by something darker, a behind-the-scenes struggle where careers, reputations, and control of the narrative were all at stake. The cameras kept rolling, but everyone involved knew the real drama wasn't unfolding on screen. It was playing out just beyond the frame. The leaked voicemail hinted that a pivotal decision on set was driven not by artistic vision, but by a deeper struggle for narrative control. This revelation cracked the glossy veneer of Hollywood's favorite duo, suggesting that behind their polished smiles lay ambitions as calculated as any high-stakes boardroom maneuver. Suddenly, the film was no longer just about cameos and comedy. It had become the stage for a power play with consequences stretching far beyond the SET. AT first, fans celebrated the movie's ensemble of quirky appearances, seeing it as a love letter to the industry. But as production wore on, the energy shifted. What had once been a playful tribute started to look like a battleground where egos clashed and control was everything. The cameo, once a delightful nod to star power, became a currency, a weapon even, wielded in the pursuit of dominance. Industry insiders began to take notice. Studio executives and directors, initially thrilled at the spectacle of so many A-listers sharing the screen, were now forced to question the cost of granting such creative freedom. The planning behind each cameo appearance came under the microscope, with boardroom discussions no longer focused on storytelling, but on damage control. The breaking point arrived during the shoot of a critical scene. Reports alleged that the celebrated duo had pushed for last-minute rewrites and rescheduling, moves that effectively sidelined a key actor whose cameo had been highly anticipated. The fallout was immediate. On set, the tension was so thick it was described as electric, an atmosphere charged with frustration, suspicion, and unspoken resentment. Witnesses claimed the sidelined actor walked off set visibly furious, muttering about betrayal and sabotage. What should have been a seamless moment of collaboration was instead remembered as the moment the conflict broke into the open. In those charged hours, the true nature of the struggle was laid bare. This wasn't simply about a single scene or even the film itself. It was about control over image, narrative, and legacy. The duo at the center weren't just battling for screen time. They were reshaping the story around themselves, ensuring that the finished product reflected their vision, their brand, their dominance. The reverberations of this behind-the-scenes war were felt across Hollywood. Word of the chaos spread quickly, whispered at industry parties and dissected in trade magazines. What emerged was a cautionary tale. Even the most beloved stars, those once seen as the epitome of grace and professionalism, could harbor ambitions so consuming they threatened to suffocate collaboration. Some insiders even speculated that this was just the tip of the iceberg, a glimpse into wider power struggles simmering beneath the glamorous surface of celebrity culture, studios took notice. Discussions began about implementing stricter contractual protections for cameo appearances, ensuring no actor could be undermined by sudden rewrites or schedule changes. The incident was reframed as a lesson. Unchecked ambition could warp even the most promising projects, eroding trust on set and alienating collaborators. Yet for the public, the truth remained murky. Fans were left piecing together fragments from leaked texts, whispers of insider testimony, and scattered media reports. Social media turned the chaos into spectacle, buzzing with speculation and theories, each revelation sparking a frenzy of debate. Was this a ruthless grab for power, or merely exaggerated gossip? No one could say for certain. What was clear, however, was that the carefully curated image of Hollywood perfection had been irrevocably fractured. For the first time, audiences glimpsed the raw ambition and fragile alliances lurking behind the curtain, and they couldn't look away. Speculation ran wild, sparking heated debates as supporters of the duo defended their beloved icons while detractors questioned the true extent of their influence. What had once seemed like the picture of a perfect, harmonious partnership was suddenly under a microscope, with mounting evidence hinting at a reality far more complex and perhaps much darker. Each leaked message, every hastily deleted post, and each mysterious voicemail only deepened the mystery. What had started as whispers of creative differences now looked suspiciously like a deliberate strategy to consolidate power at the expense of artistic integrity. In the midst of the storm, the central figures at the heart of the controversy remained frustratingly silent. When pressed by the media, they delivered nothing more than vague, carefully measured responses that clarified little. Their refusal to directly address the issue only added fuel to the fire, transforming their silence into a kind of statement in itself. Fans and critics alike dissected every word they did speak, poring over interviews and press appearances like detectives examining clues. A subtle pause, an awkward laugh, even the faintest hint of irritation, all were seized upon as proof of deeper tension. One such moment came during a low-key press event when one of the stars was asked about the rumors. Instead of denying or confirming the drama, they offered a cryptic remark. Creative vision sometimes comes with unexpected challenges. The seemingly harmless comment was interpreted as a sly acknowledgement of the turmoil behind the scenes. For some, it was a confirmation of everything they had suspected. For others, it was merely a clever dodge. Either way, the effect was the same. It heightened the sense of mystery, making the duo's enigma even more compelling. As production crept toward its final days, the impact of the off-screen battles began to manifest in ways that couldn't be ignored. What had started as an exciting, celebratory project full of star-studded cameos had evolved into something far more complicated. It was no longer simply a comedy with unexpected twists. It had become a story of power, betrayal, and ambition. Industry insiders quietly admitted that the conflict had exposed uncomfortable truths about modern Hollywood. In an era where public image is everything, creative control had become a battleground, and cameo appearances, once little more than playful surprises for audiences, were now tools in a high-stakes game. Directors and producers began re-examining the very role of cameos in contemporary filmmaking. Once considered safe additions designed to thrill fans and bolster marketing campaigns, these appearances were suddenly viewed as potential flashpoints for conflict. Could the old model of surprise celebrity moments survive in a climate where stars were increasingly protective of their influence and visibility? Some industry veterans openly wondered if this incident would spark a shift in the way Hollywood negotiated cameo deals, forcing studios to implement new protections to safeguard projects from being hijacked by ego or ambition. When the film finally premiered, the result reflected the compromises and battles that had shaped its creation. Reviews were mixed. Critics acknowledged that the movie retained a surface-level charm and wit, but many pointed out an unmistakable undercurrent of tension running through every scene. The transitions felt abrupt, the tone uneven. It was as if the story itself bore the scars of the backstage chaos. What could have been a seamless narrative instead became a patchwork, stitched together under pressure and marred by the weight of clashing egos. For audiences, the film became more than just entertainment. It was a symbol of Hollywood's high-stakes world, a glimpse behind the glittering curtain. Every smile on screen seemed tinged with hidden meaning. Every laugh felt like it might mask betrayal. Viewers couldn't help but speculate which scenes had been rewritten in anger, which moments bore the fingerprints of behind-the-scenes sabotage. The movie wasn't just consumed as art. It was scrutinized as evidence in an ongoing trial of public opinion, and as the dust began to settle, larger questions emerged. Was this fiasco an isolated incident, the result of two stars letting personal ambitions spill over into their work? Or was it a symptom of something systemic, a sign that the entertainment industry itself was buckling under the weight of unchecked egos and relentless pursuit of control? In an industry built on illusion, perhaps the true surprise was not the film's cameos, but the reminder that even the most admired figures are vulnerable to the corrosive effects of power. For many, this saga was a turning point. What had begun as a minor dispute over creative choices had grown into a full-scale battle for dominance, one that reshaped how audiences and insiders alike perceived the duo at its center. Their carefully polished image as Hollywood's golden couple had been irrevocably tarnished, replaced by a narrative of rivalry and ambition. The whispers of sabotage, the alleged power plays, the evasive public statements, all combine to form a story as dramatic as any blockbuster script, yet it is precisely these stories that audiences are drawn to. Beyond the red carpets and the glittering premieres, fans crave glimpses of the truth, the rivalries, the sacrifices, the ambition lurking beneath the surface. This saga delivered that in spades, blurring the line between performance and reality. In a world where every word is dissected, every gesture analyzed, the allure lies not only in the spectacle of celebrity, but in the messy, human drama behind it. Now imagine sitting in a theater, the lights dimming as the film begins. On screen, you see a carefully crafted narrative designed to make you laugh, cry, and escape for 2 hours. But in the back of your mind, you know that just beyond the frame lies another story, a raw, unpredictable tale of ambition, betrayal, and survival. That hidden drama lingers, making every scene feel heavier, every joke tinged with irony, because the truth is this: the Hollywood we see is only a fraction of the Hollywood that exists. Behind every polished premiere and every dazzling smile is a web of rivalries, ambitions, and choices that can make or break careers. And in this case, the battle for control turned what should have been a lighthearted comedy into something far more enduring, a cautionary tale about the price of power in the world's most glamorous, yet most unforgiving, stage. Hollywood has always thrived on spectacle, but rarely does the drama behind the scenes rival what unfolds on screen. This story, however, is different. Every twist in the script seemed to mirror a twist in real life, each seemingly innocent decision on set carrying the weight of personal ambition, ego, and pride. In today's age of relentless media scrutiny, the boundaries between art and reality grow increasingly thin. When a powerhouse couple dominates not just the spotlight but the entire creative process, it forces us to ask, does the pursuit of perfection sometimes come at too steep a price? The film at the center of this storm promised laughter, star-studded cameos, and moments of cinematic magic. But beneath its glossy surface, shadows began to spread. Rumors of rewrites, whispered conversations, and egos clashing in private rooms painted a darker picture. What was meant to be a joyful celebration of creativity gradually transformed into a battlefield where alliances shifted daily and every choice became a tug-of-war over influence. Producers who once envisioned a playful, light-hearted blockbuster soon found themselves refereeing a covert struggle for control. This is not merely about one production. It is about the very forces shaping modern Hollywood. As celebrities wield greater influence over scripts, casting, and even marketing, the line between performer and power broker has blurred. Directors, once seen as the sole visionaries, now find their authority contested by actors who understand the enormous sway of public opinion and personal branding. In this new era, The glimmering facade of collaboration often conceals a fierce competition for dominance. The tale of this tumultuous project serves as a stark reminder that even the most glamorous worlds have their shadows. Behind the red carpets and meticulously staged interviews lies a system where loyalty is tested, alliances forged and broken, and every move could tip the balance between success and failure. For all the dazzling premieres and carefully crafted smiles, Hollywood remains, at its core, a place where ambition is currency and influence is power. As the drama played out, industry insiders began asking hard questions. Was this simply a case of clashing personalities spiraling out of control, or was it symptomatic of a deeper shift in the dynamics of celebrity power? Could it be that the entertainment industry itself was entering a new era, one where creative control is concentrated in the hands of a select few, and where the line between artistic vision and personal ambition is no longer clear? These questions resonated far beyond the confines of a single set. In boardrooms and studios, executives debated how to adapt. Some argued for stricter safeguards to protect projects from being hijacked by ego. Others pointed out that controversy often fuels publicity, and that feuds, no matter how disruptive, can generate box office gold. After all, Hollywood has a long history of rivalries becoming legend, with scandals remembered long after the films themselves fade. When the movie finally premiered, the result was a curious paradox. On the surface, it delivered exactly what audiences expected: humor, cameos, and a polished finish. Yet for those who followed the behind-the-scenes chaos, every scene seemed tinged with subtext. Viewers couldn't help but wonder which jokes had been rewritten in anger, which moments reflected battles fought off-camera. The film became less a comedy and more a living artifact of conflict, a reminder that even art created for laughter can bear the scars of ambition. For fans, this was irresistible. Social media lit up with speculation, memes dissected body language during press tours, and every vague comment by the stars was treated like a cryptic clue. The silence of the central figures only heightened the fascination. By refusing to directly address the drama, they left the narrative in the hands of fans and critics, allowing imaginations to run wild. In many ways, their tight-lipped approach only added to their mythos, an aura of power and secrecy that felt almost calculated. But beneath the spectacle lies a more sobering reality. The pursuit of control, the battle for creative freedom, and the desire to remain adored by millions are forces powerful enough to ignite, and even destabilize, an industry. When ambition collides with collaboration, something must give. And too often, what breaks is not just the film but the trust and respect that underpin it. So we are left with questions. Was this saga merely a cautionary tale of egos unchecked, or does it signal a larger systemic change within Hollywood? Are we seeing the rise of a new model of stardom, one where the most influential actors hold as much sway as directors and producers, dictating not only performances, but the very narrative itself? Or was this simply another flare-up in the endless cycle of fame, a reminder that behind every smile lies a secret, and behind every blockbuster, a battlefield? As the dust settles, one truth remains undeniable. This story has altered the way we view celebrity, creativity, and power. It reminds us that the Hollywood we see is only a fragment of the reality. Behind the dazzling lights lies a world of negotiations, rivalries, and sacrifices. And while the curtain may have fallen on this particular production, its echoes will reverberate for years to come. In every whispered rumor, every calculated statement, and every sudden creative shift, we will see its mark. A reminder that the magic of cinema is often forged in chaos, and that the greatest stories may be the ones we never see on screen.